Hello, besties. We are now approaching October 31st, and I want to talk about Coco. And this movie I watched when I was a kid. And the movie always made me emotional, and I didn't understand why. I never really understood. I just thought it was such an emotional movie. But as I got older and as my perspective changes on a lot of things and I gain more awareness on some stuff, guys, Disney movies are so magical and they are very, very, very real, and they're explaining things from a whole nother perspective than what we truly understand. So I want to talk about this since the Day of the Dead is coming up. I don't want to say the whole name because I'm not so good at pronunciation. So I'm going to say it one time and I'm going to leave it here, but I may not have pronounced it right. Dia de los Muertos. That's what we're going to talk about today. I want to tell you guys exactly the real message behind Coco. And yeah, people think Coco is just a cute movie for kids, but if you really watch it, it's about something way deeper. That film is a whole message about memory, family, and the way our people still walk with us, even if we can't see them. Everything in it means something. The colors, the music, the candles is all one code for one truth. When you remember where you come from, you keep that love alive. That's exactly what this episode is about. Around this time of the year, the air just feels different, You can tell it's the season of remembering. Everyone's all inside and doing more comforting things. More mindfulness is now going to start happening, and you cherish your family members. This is that time of the year. And in Mexico, they call it Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. These families build ofrendas with candles, flowers, food, pictures, basically a whole setup to say, we still love you, we see you. And on those altars, they'll basically have pictures of their family members with white candles and food that their relatives and ancestors liked. Basically just a whole setup to say that, we miss you, we love you, we honor you. Other cultures do it too. In West Africa, they got Egungun, people dance in bright clothes so their ancestors can join the party and dance along with them. Japan has Oban, floating lanterns on water to guide spirits home. Celtic folks had Samhain, big fires to honor their dead. Different names, same idea. We don't forget our people. That's exactly what's happening in Coco. The family doesn't even realize they're keeping a tradition alive. Now, in the movie, there's a family rule: no music. They banned it because an ancestor hurt them and they never healed that wound. That silence is what a lot of families carry to this day. Generations later, people forget where the rule even came from. They just keep living inside it. Then somebody like Miguel, who is born, who can feel the truth pulling at him, and he starts asking questions. And that's how healing starts. That's how you kind of know when a child is the bloodline healer, the one that's here to break the generational curses, because they ask, they question everything. Why do we do it like this? Why can't we do this? What really happened? In Coco, a spirit can only visit the living if somebody still remembers them. If their photo isn't on the ofrenda, they fade away. That might sound like fantasy, but it's real in our own way. When we remember someone, we keep their energy moving. When we talk about them, they stay connected to us. Even science got a name for it now: epigenetics. It means what our ancestors lived through: stress, strength, trauma. All of that leaves marks that gets passed down through DNA. So when Miguel picks up that guitar, even though his family told him not to, that's his blood remembering. He's not just playing a song, he's waking up something in his lineage. Let's talk about those orange flowers, the marigolds. They're everywhere in that movie. In real life, people use them because the scent and color are supposed to help spirits find their way home. In Coco, the petals make a glowing bridge between the worlds. That's just not pretty, it's a message. Every time we act out of love instead of fear, we're building that same kind of bridge. Every time we remember somebody, we meet them halfway. When Miguel steps onto those petals and they start glowing, that's what remembering looks like in spirit. He's in alignment. That's what happens when you remember where you come from. So I want to explain the ofrenda, and it's basically an altar setup. It's a table, and every element on there has its own purpose. So the water is for refreshment and renewal. Light helps them find their way. Food shows gratitude, and when you put food on there, usually put their favorite food or the foods that they are known for liking. And then pictures that anchor the memory. Pictures of them. And you can find the same setup in different forms all over the world. It's universal. It's just a way of saying we're still connected to our ancestors and we allow them to guide us. When Coco zooms in on those candles, that's just not decoration, that's communication. A flame is energy talking back. Every candle says, I remember you. Even if you don't know the tradition, you feel it. That's why people get emotional watching that scene. The soul knows what the eyes are seeing. Then the movie hits you with that quiet scene where the old guy, Chicharron, disappears because nobody alive remembers him. That's one of the saddest parts of the story. People die twice. Once when they stop breathing, and again when they're forgotten. Coco put that lesson in front of us. It's teaching that remembrance keeps people alive in spirit. It's a reminder of how much we've been told to forget our languages, our music, our stories, our lineage. That's why the movie hits the heart so loud for a lot of people. It wakes up something that's been quiet too long. And that's why a lot of people cry when they've watched the movie. Why it had to be bright. Look at the colors in that film. Pink, orange, turquoise, everything's shining. Pixar did that on purpose. They wanted to show death without fear. They wanted to show that remembering somebody can be beautiful, not sad. Death is inevitable for all of us, and it's not a time to be sad as if it's a bad thing. Death is to not ever be feared, and is to be celebrated. Joy is proof that love made it through. And Coco teaches that grief and celebration can live in the same moment. That's the surface of this message. What we can see and feel right away, but underneath, there's another layer why certain systems wanted people to forget, and how remembering your people is its own kind of power. And that's the next part we're going to dig into. So now that we talked about the meaning behind the colors, the candles, and the music, let's get into the part most people skip over. Why forgetting even started. Because Coco doesn't just tell a cute story. It quietly exposes what happens when people get cut off from their roots. A long time ago, honoring ancestors were normal. Everywhere. People talked to their elders, told stories, kept names alive. Then colonization came through different parts of the world and tried to erase that. Leaders realized if you make people forget where they came from, they'll stop knowing who they are. They outlawed the festivals, changed the languages, and called remembrance evil. And generation after generation started to feel that disconnect. That's why so many folks today feel lost or numb and don't even know why. It's not just about daily life. It's about a spiritual disconnection that started centuries ago. In Coco, the family's rule against music is a mirror of that. One person's fear became a law everyone had to follow, and nobody questioned it. That's what forgetting looks like. Silence passed down like tradition. Then comes Miguel, the one who listens, the one who questions everything. Every family, every generation has that one person who refuses to stay asleep. They're not trying to cause problems, they're trying to remember. Miguel represents that energy. He doesn't want fame or money, he wants truth. He feels that pull towards something his bloodline buried. And when he finally picks up that guitar, he becomes what every lineage produces. The awakener, the one who reminds everyone else that the story isn't over. When he crosses into the spirit world, he's literally walking into memory. Each ancestor he meets represents a piece of history his family forgot. And the more he learns, the stronger he gets. That's how remembrance works. The more that you know about where you come from, the more solid you stand in the present. In Coco, everyone thinks the villain De La Cruz, the famous musician who stole another man's songs, but underneath, the real villain is forgetfulness itself. It's not just one man, it's the system that rewards forgetting in the first place. That's the same thing society do when they erase cultures. They profit off stolen art, stolen rhythm, stolen memory. Miguel breaking the cycle is bigger than one family. It's every new generation saying we're not letting the past stay buried anymore. Let's take a step back for a second. When scientists talk about epigenetics, they're basically saying the same thing Coco shows through story. What happens to one generation doesn't just disappear. Stress, trauma, resilience, all of it leaves a fingerprint on our genes. That means healing isn't personal, it's generational. And every time somebody remembers, tells the truth, or breaks a toxic pattern, that's energy correcting itself. That's Miguel singing the Mama Coco at the end. He's not just singing a song, he's repairing DNA. He's reactivating the love that fear shut down. Music is a vibration, and vibration is healing. That's why certain songs make you cry or feel like a certain day from childhood. In Coco, the guitar is more than an instrument. It's the tool that wakes everybody up. That's why Miguel's grandmother tried to destroy it. She was protecting the family from pain, not realizing she was also protecting the silence. When he finally plays Remember Me, when people lose connection to their ancestors, they start over every generation. They repeat the same lessons because they don't know who already learned them. That's why remembrance is power. It saves time, it saves energy, and it saves pain. The silence in Miguel's family made them strong in some ways, but closed in others. They built a business, raised kids, survived, but they never healed the root. Coco shows what happens when healing finally reaches the source. Everyone expands, the family sings again, and the line is open. When you heal, you're not doing it alone. You're fixing a pattern that might have started generations before you. Every apology, every boundary, every moment of love you choose over fear, it all goes backwards and forward through your bloodline. That's why Coco raps in music and colors so kids can understand it before the world complicates it. The movie says remembering isn't about being stuck in the past, it's about freeing the future. That's the deeper side of Coco, the side that talks about what forgetting costs and what remembering restores. So in this next section, we're going to go deeper into the ideas of being the one chosen to remember, and how every generation has that person who can bring the light back. So if you're with me now and you understand the backstory of our ancestors and how this all connects to us, keep listening because I'm going to go back to it. So now that we've seen how Coco shows what forgetting does, let's talk about what remembering actually creates, because that's the part that the movie only hints at, but it's the real reason it hits your spirit so hard. You know, why so many people cry about this movie in the first place. So every generation has one person who feels that pull to break silence. That person is the listener, the person who hears what everyone else tries to ignore. They might get labeled the black sheep, the rebel, the dreamer, but they're really the bridge builders. Miguel is that in Coco. He's young, curious, and fearless, and always asking questions. And that's what chosen ones do. Like I said, they shine light on what's been hidden. They bring movement to what's been stuck. Sometimes being that person feels heavy. You feel responsible for healing things you didn't even cause, but Coco reminds us it's not a burden. It's an assignment that we came on earth here to do. When we talk about generational curses, what we really mean is unhealed energy that keeps looping until somebody stops and look at it. Coco turns that concept into visuals. The family silence about music is the curse. Miguel facing it is the healing. In real life, healing can look like therapy, journaling, praying, creating art, or just finally saying what needed to be said. Each act of truth resets the frequency. Coco isn't telling people to build an altar or practice a ritual. It's telling people to remember with love, to keep stories alive, speak names, and understand that memory is medicine. For some families, that might look like cooking, a favorite recipe, or playing old music. For others, it's just lighting a candle or saying thank you. The point is acknowledgement. When love gets acknowledged, it grows. That's what the movie means. Our love for each other will live on forever.